Are you trying to lose weight, but it feels next to impossible to you? Feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so frustrated. The scale isn't budging, or it's going up, and you feel like you're putting in the effort to eat healthier, to get your exercise, to eat less, as we've been told, which I don't honestly suggest doing that. But it's like, oh, you want to lose weight, eat less, and exercise more, but it's not working. Well, I want to talk about why. I want to talk about the connection between your thyroid health and weight, and why it can feel so much harder to lose weight and keep it off when we have a thyroid imbalance. Right before we do that though, hello and welcome to all of you. My name is Romaniuk. I'm an emotional eating, digestive, and hormone expert with almost 11 years experience helping women and men all over the world gain food and body freedom, help you release the weight without diets and exercise, but by investigating the roots of what I call your weight loss blocks, including hormone imbalances like thyroid imbalances, which are very common, especially for women. So make sure you are subscribed. Hit that notification bell so you get notified when I post new videos, which come every week, usually on Wednesdays. And hit the like button if you're liking this kind of content. I think it's so important that we share and help to reassure you that it's not your fault. It's not because you don't have willpower. There are deeper things going on inside for you to be willing to look at and investigate to bring into balance that are probably contributing to your weight gain. So I refer to weight as a protective mechanism. I really believe the body hangs on to weight when the body doesn't feel safe. And so we need to investigate what are those weight loss blocks and why is the body hanging on? I wanted to just share something that's coming up that's going to be really resonant with today's video, which is I'm hosting a workshop called the Thyroid Health Workshop on May 29th. It is 90 minutes, and 60 minutes of those is going to be me providing education on thyroid health, what it is, what are the most common thyroid imbalances, which tests do we need to be getting done to confirm that, how do we naturally support the thyroid and or support your thyroid depending on different medications and things you may already be on to help bring it back into balance and help you gain relief from your symptoms so that you can do things like more easily lose weight. So if you want to come and join us for the thyroid workshop, which includes a 60-minute education and a 30-minute Q&A for you to ask your questions, you can bring your test results, whatever you want, and I can help give you guidance and recommendations. The link is in the description below. There's only 10 spots available and it's 50% off right now at the early bird price of $44 USD. Come and join us. It's going to be very eye-opening and you're going to finally get the answers you've been looking for to help you with your thyroid health. Okay, so now let's dive right in. Why do we struggle so much with weight loss when we have a thyroid imbalance? First thing is because the thyroid and the metabolism are very much connected. And if your thyroid starts to go out of whack, especially if we're looking at things like hypothyroid, which is sluggish thyroid, I'll link another video below where I talk about signs of hypothyroid, but it really means that the thyroid has become more sluggish. And if the thyroid becomes more sluggish, the metabolism is also becoming more sluggish. And so as we know, if the metabolism is slowing down, we're not burning through our energy, aka our food, as efficiently, and it can be a lot easier to gain weight, especially if you're eating more processed foods, you're emotionally eating, you're stress eating, you're overeating on a regular basis, and or you're eating a lot of really, lots of fats and like lots of really high calorie foods, which we do need good fats. We need lots of protein. We need good quality carbohydrates. But if we're eating too much or eating, the same amount that we're used to, but our metabolism is slowing down because our thyroid is getting sluggish, that can make for easier weight gain. However, I don't suggest just hopping on a diet or a quick fix because that can make everything worse. What we want to really look at is why is the metabolism slowing down? Why is the thyroid getting sluggish? We want to actually take some steps and investigate what exactly is going on with your thyroid and then take those steps to naturally support the thyroid, which I will be talking about in the thyroid workshop. But the metabolism slowing down and then, overeating, not dealing with emotional eating, your self-sabotaging relationship with food, binge eating, compulsive eating, stress eating, if we don't deal with things like that, we're going to gain weight really easily, not only because we're over-consuming and the metabolism is slowing, but also because the more we self-sabotage with food, the more inflammation we're going to have, the poorer our gut health, the more it stresses out other hormones, and the more stress the body in general and the more inflamed the body, this suppresses thyroid function and it makes it harder for the thyroid to process and work properly and help keep your metabolism revving at a really solid, consistent level to burn through your energy and food more efficiently. So then what I see women especially ending up doing, and I used to do this as well, I was in the exact same boat, so trust me, you're not the only one, is that you go on a diet. You cut calories. Now you're eating 1,000 calories a day, you're eating 1,200 calories a day. You cut out fats, you cut out carbs, you cut out all these foods. You go on a diet food plan like Ideal Protein, which is like really high in soy and aspartame and all these really inflammatory ingredients, which will inhibit your thyroid function even more and mess with your metabolism and your hormones even more and potentially make you gain more weight because it's such a processed food, made in a lab kind of food diet versus continuing to eat whole foods and eat mindfully and investigate like, okay, well, what's going on? Why am I gaining the weight? And if I have a thyroid issue, I want to look at things like inflammation, my gut health, my other hormones like cortisol, my relationship with food, my stress levels. But we're not really educated and programmed to look at the roots. We panic, we see the number on the scale going up, we have a stress response. We go, oh my gosh, I need to diet, I need to restrict, I need to cut my calories a lot. But when we have a thyroid imbalance, here's something else that's really interesting. One of the most common signs of hypothyroid or underactive thyroid is lower appetite or lack of hunger signal, especially first thing in the morning or through the first part of the day. And so often what happens is we think, well, if I'm not hungry, I'm not going to eat, because if I'm not getting a hunger signal, it must mean my body doesn't need any food, which isn't the case. And being that this is one of the most common signs of hypothyroid, which is one of the indicators that your metabolism is slowing down, so you're lacking producing that hunger signal, it is an actual hunger hormone called ghrelin that makes us feel hungry, helps gives us the stomach growl, all that good stuff that our body is communicating with us to say, hey, it's time to eat. If none of that is happening and then we wait hours and hours and hours to eat because we don't feel hungry, we're actually suppressing that metabolism even more and contributing to slowing it down even more and making it even less likely to produce that hunger signal, that stomach growl, to help stoke the metabolism. Like I talked about in a previous video, if you stop putting wood on the fire is going to go out, and it's no different with the metabolism. The less we eat, the more we skip meals, right? The more we diet, the more we're gonna stress out and suppress that metabolism rather than eating regularly, eating the things that are gonna boost our metabolism, help thyroid function, right? Which it is a journey to learn and be educated about these things, and it is unique to each person. However, the less we eat, the more it's going to suppress the thyroid and the more easy it's going to be for that metabolism to go down, and it's going to be easier to gain more weight. We do need to eat enough to release weight and keep weight off and to boost the metabolism back up. Things like protein, animal protein, are really great for revving the metabolism up. Cinnamon, oats, blueberries, greens, good hydration. These things all help to boost the metabolism. Instead of dieting, instead of restricting, what we want to look at is, like I said earlier, why is your thyroid off? Let's investigate, right? And instead of diets and restriction, that can then lead to higher stress levels, overeating, emotional eating, binge eating, which is just going to stress your body out and make all of that worse, or more exercise, which can then stress out your stress hormone, cortisol. And the higher your cortisol gets, the more it negatively impacts your thyroid and suppresses your metabolism, which can make it easier to gain weight when we have high cortisol and a thyroid issue, and it's easier to gain weight in the abdomen. So we can see how if we're not addressing the roots, like your stressors, your overbooked schedule, your poor sleep schedule, overstimulation from things like too much caffeine and technology, emotional eating, binge eating, food addiction, the chronic yo-yo dieting, overeating, I need to chase the number on the scale because I'm, tied my worth up with my weight. If we don't deal with those things on an emotional level, you may stay in this cycle of yo-yo dieting, losing control with food, seeing the scale go up, being really frustrated, losing weight only short term to gain it back, plus more. This is a cycle that is a very emotionally and physically draining that we want to avoid by addressing the roots. So over-exercising, calorie restriction, right? Dieting when we're not looking at, okay, well, what exactly is contributing to my thyroid imbalance is not gonna help your thyroid regulate, and it's also not gonna help your other hormones balance, like cortisol, which is extremely important to have that level come down if it's too high or come up if it's too low. Otherwise, that is gonna have a negative impact on your thyroid. And I will be talking a lot more about that in the thyroid workshop, and I've talked about it in the adrenal fatigue series, which I will make sure is linked below. If you're struggling to lose weight and you suspect you have a thyroid issue, or you know you have one, or you want to rule out that you don't have one, I think some of the most important things are, number one, it's so important that you get the proper hormone testing done to see exactly what's going on with your thyroid. And the TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, is one test. It's actually not a hormone that the thyroid produces, it's that the pituitary produces. But that's not enough. That only gives us like 20% of the picture. We also need to see your T3, your T4. We want to rule out Hashimoto's thyroiditis, the autoimmune condition, via doing antibody testing. So there's actually a few tests that we want to look at. And we also want to test your cortisol. We want to see what your inflammation's like in your body. So doing actually a full health assessment and a fuller panel of testing is extremely important. If you cannot access that testing, or your healthcare practitioner is saying, no, you don't need that done, I really encourage you to advocate for yourself and go somewhere else. If you want to work with me and work together and make sure you get all those answers, we can do all that testing together. So if you want to connect, you can book a Body Freedom consultation. It's free. The link is below, and we can talk about all of that and then talk about working together and going on the journey to help you get all those answers. Balance your thyroid, your cortisol, heal your relationship with food, release the weight for once and for all by addressing the roots. We're also going to talk about the tests in the thyroid workshop, and you can also get help from me to access them for that workshop as well. But I think the testing piece is so important. As an example, if I just test my TSH can look really good. But if my T3 or T4 are too low, or both of those are too low, that's an indication of that hypothyroid, that sluggish thyroid, and the sluggish metabolism. And so if I only have one reading, I'm not getting the full picture. Plus, if I'm having, say I have really off TSH levels, I have really off T3 and T4, I'm gonna wanna get my antibodies tested and rule out that I don't have an autoimmune thyroid condition, AKA Hashimoto's. Oftentimes that is completely missed, and so many people are walking around with undiagnosed thyroid imbalances, especially Hashimoto's, and we can rule that out by getting those tests done. That's so important. I'm always making sure my clients are getting those kinds of things done, because there have been times where we have found that that's going on, and then they can go and see the proper support for dealing with the thyroiditis. Like, sometimes we need medication and or see an endocrinologist, which is extremely important, though we can do a lot naturally to bring those antibodies down and make sure that your thyroid is functioning as good as we can get it. So we want to do the testing. The other things we want to look at that can be contributing to the weight gain, the suppression of the thyroid and the sluggish metabolism, are inflammation, poor gut health, poor detoxification, like liver function, stuck lymphatic systems, and like I've been talking about, the negative self-sabotaging relationship with food, binge eating, emotional eating, overeating, stress eating, whatever you want to call it, as well as the negative self-talk, the picking your body apart, the chasing the number on the scale, you're never happy because your body doesn't look good enough. Like, all of this self-sabotage, self-talk, and behavior with food, etc., stresses your body out. And the more you stress your body out, the more you're going to potentially cause an imbalance with your thyroid, your metabolism, and make it a lot easier for you to gain weight. And it's going to feel a lot harder to keep it off, because you keep trying the same things like the exercise, diets, the restriction, the eating less, but it doesn't work because you're not addressing these roots. And I just cannot bring home enough how important it is to address the roots physically, emotionally, and energetically of what is contributing to your weight gain. And a thyroid plays a huge role in this. For somebody that I work with, like I said earlier, women are 8 times more likely to have a thyroid imbalance, and 60% of those go undetected. So let's change that by addressing the roots. So come and join me for the thyroid workshop May 29th. The link is in the description. There's 10 spots available. And if you want to further connect and have a Body Freedom consultation, the link is also below. Make sure you are subscribed. Come and join us for weekly videos so that you don't miss anything. And I'm curious to hear from you. What did you learn? What is the takeaway from this video? Share a comment below. If you have any questions about your thyroid health, leave them below and I'll do my best to answer or guide you in the right direction. Thank you for joining me again today. I want you to try to not be frustrated if you've gained weight or you can't lose it. There are reasons for it. It's not for no reason. It's just, are you willing to dig and or get the support to help you figure out the answers so that you can take the aligned steps to gain food and body freedom and release the weight with ease without the diets and the restriction. See you again next time.